Doing oil painting. So I got some new lights this time, so we're trying that out. And we're also trying out some medium. I'm going to try and do what I used to do when I first started painting with the sort of Bob Ross technique where you sort of wet the canvas before you go. So I'm going to get my colors out. Spur number. French ultramarine. Cadmium red. So I managed to get that on me already. It's cadmium yellow. Got that all over my hands too. All right. So I wanted to try, when I first started doing paintings, I was starting where I think a lot of people start, which is, I was watching Bob Ross videos and trying to do what he was doing, which I don't recommend, by the way. Bob Ross painting is harder than regular painting. But I haven't done it since then, so I figured I'd try slicking the canvas just with a bit of, this is water mixable oil, so I'm using water mixable oils here. So you have to use a water mixable oil medium if you do that. So that's all this is. I'm pretty sure this is just linseed oil, but I might be wrong about that. I'm gonna try getting this out of there with a palette knife. I don't want it to be too wet, too slick. I'm just gonna brush that around. Just kind of brushing that around. Trying to get a nice even coat. I'm dripping on my desk. Oof, got water on my palette. That's not good. Alright, now I'm going to kind of dab some of that out, just so it's just a little bit slicked, not wet. Just trying this. I don't know how it's going to work. Also, the reason this canvas isn't white is just because I was using some watercolor and stuff on it, and I didn't really like the way it looked, so I just sort of put a bunch of black watercolor over it, wiped it all off, and it's basically free tinted canvas for another painting. So I think I was going to do a little sketch, but I don't know that I'm going to do that anymore. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go right into actual painting. This is going to be a pretty quick one, I think. I'm going to mix up a black. I want it to be sort of a reddish black. I want a little more black. This is going to be pretty loose. I want it more black. Just getting my darks in. So that might be a good time to tell you what I'm going to try and paint. I'm going to try and paint a candle. Really wish I'd done a sketch first. Just a basic one. I think maybe I'm going to do a quick brush sketch. Just going to go into like a tiny bit of brown here. Try to make a little sketch. I can just make sure I get my proportions kind of right. My lights went out. Why'd they do that? Oh. Maybe I'm pulling too much out of this outlet. Got all my lights plugged in. Now they're just dying. Oh, that's a shame. Guess I'm back to the old one. Hang on. Gosh, I was using this thing. It is hot as a piston. Wow. All right. I'm back to my old lighting solution here. Which means there's going to be some glare for somebody. Me or you. Maybe both. All right, back to it. Okay. Except some red now. Some dark red. Feeling a little quiet today. I don't know why. So hope that's not too. Hope that doesn't bother you. Guess I didn't talk about my brushes either. Just using a natural hair bristle. This is a flat brush. I don't usually use flats, but just felt like this would be a good one to use some flats on because it's going to be a quick one. So I'm not stuck with the brushes that I get out. And candles are kind of square, so I kind of mix something in between these two. I think I'm going to lighten some of that up later, but not making any plans. Alright, I think I'm gonna start getting into some more brighter colors now. Let me put in some of the really dark stuff down here. Hello, how are you? I'm doing alright. Doing a little candle painting today. Hopefully it'll turn out alright. I know it, I know it. It is a painting stream. I don't mind the energy being a little bit on the lower side. I'm also just feeling a little quieter today. Well, the thing about music in a stream is, you have to deal with the royalties. And if you're not worried about the royalties, that means you're using, the royalty-free music that everyone else is using. And, honestly, I feel like if you want music in the background to a stream you're listening to, put on your own music. That's what I do. That way you're listening to what you like to listen to, and you don't have to listen to whatever I put on. Maybe I put on something you don't like. It's a good suggestion, though. I appreciate it. That's something I talked about with some of my pals before I started streaming. Was I feel like I just don't have all that much to say sometimes. And sometimes when you're painting, you're just painting. And so I was worried about people getting bored during the streams, and he suggested putting some music in it, and that was my response to him, basically. But yeah, if I'm boring you, get some music in there. Jam out. I wish my lights didn't give out on me. I had two nice box lights that I just bought, and they died the first day. And now I'm fighting this light that I used to have that blinds me. Oh, I intend to. Well, actually, I don't know if it was the lights or not. I mean, because I was plugging, how nothing comes with the actual wall plug-in adapter now. Everything's got to come with the USB. I think it might have been the wall adapter because that thing was piping hot. So I'm a little worried that was it. Ooh, too much white there. I'm gonna try to start carving this candle in over here. Kind of a simple surroundings, trying to keep it real impressionist and all that. Nice and loose. Trying to add a little bit of spice to those shadows. Oh, I added too much over there. Trying to throw some darks in there to spice up a little bit too. All right, I gotta move this light so I can see. Hopefully I don't make it too hard for everyone else to see. It's not too bad of a compromise. You can see a little bit of glare there, but it is what it is. It's crazy. I did a whole test on those lights. They died on me as soon as I start the string. It's painful. All right, now for the more challenging part. Painting a candle in there. It should be fun. So I think it's going to be, I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush. The same flat variety, natural bristle, just a little bit smaller. And I think I'm going to start with actually making the candlestick first. Looking for kind of a goldish color, sort of a brown yellow. I think I want more paint too. There's a hair in my paint. Okay. Oh, now I've killed my color. Too much brown in there. It's okay, I can use that for some of the touch-ups. I'm gonna start again over here. I think it needs to be a little bit cooler than it is now. Throw some white in there. All right, let's try that. So I need that one. That's probably, well, maybe there's some white over here, and that'll be the lightest bit. And then I need kind of the darker. Well, let's try and get away with what we got there. Let me see. I can just throw that in there. Try not to waste that paint. I had a lot of paint left on my brush. That's a good color. It's the color of the candle. No, I want trying to paint the candle there. I'm trying to paint the candlestick. All right, so candlestick time. Didn't mix a lot of paint. Maybe more of this color. I'm getting really blendy over there. Might have to come in and do some palette knife to get the highlights on this thing. It's okay. Don't mind. And I can kind of fix a little bit of this with some of the red once I cut it in. I just want to get the general shapes and values in there, so I've got something to work with. So that's all I'm doing right now. And if anything works, I leave it. Because I don't want to be overworking things. I like being lazy. I think I'm going to carve some of this in with darks later. Because right now the shape of it's just a blob, so it's going to have to get kind of cut in a little bit. I think I'm going to make this like spill over a little bit more. Okay, now I think I want to finish the bottom of the candlestick. So for that I just want an orange sort of color. I'm going to get this brush a little bit clean because I want a pretty intense orange, I think. So I'm just going to wipe all the paint off of it. And these are water mixed oils, so just going to rinse it in some water. I got a jar of water over here on the side. Okay. Some clean brush there. So now I think I'm going to try and just use this color here. So I'm just going to like put a little bit of red in there. It's too much red. See what that does. Some yellow in there. Put a lot of yellow in there. Throw all of the yellow in there. Okay, that's pretty good. Probably more yellow. That'll probably do it. I'm gonna try and like get this nice and impressionist. Try and fail probably. Just trying to go on real thick and loose with it. Add some of the kind of darker bits on the bottom. Trying not to blend very much. I'm trying to get just color. It's not too bad. I'm gonna throw some browns in there too, on the bottom and on the sides. I think this will probably work. A little bit on this side. All right. I need to work on the candlestick a little bit, I think. add some of the highlights and then cut it in. Actually, I'll cut it in first since my brush is dirty. I think it's this color that I want. Yeah, that's looking slightly more candlesticky. Still definitely needs a lot more definition. Edges are kind of hit and miss. Throw some of that darker red over back in here. I got something to work on now. This needs color. I'm not leaving that. Throw some of this in here. That needs to be more brown. Okay. I'm going to try and add a little bit more contrast here on the bottom of this candlestick. Okay. Add some darks in there. More darks in there. Okay. This needs more dark. I think I'm going to actually have to put the highlights on with a palette knife because I'm going so heavy on the paint. That's how it's going to have to be. Need more brown. Let me grab some of that then. So I'm running out of my darks. I think I'm just going to get a new brush. Well, I don't know. I really should have painted the lights in earlier because they're, this is supposed to be kind of bright. And I left that empty so I could paint some lights in there. But now it's going to mix into the sides, so I kind of wish I'd painted that in first and then sort of enclosed it. That way it doesn't get muddied up. I ain't worried about it. Just throwing some darks in places to break up some of that color. Okay. I want to add some darks back in here just to break this up because I got a lot of flat color in there. All right, now I think it's time to try doing some highlights. So I'm going to use palette knife to do that. And I'm probably going to have to mix up some more paint. I'm definitely gonna have to mix up more paint. I'm gonna throw in some of this color in there too. Just gonna touch some of that back in there. That was more than I wanted, but it's okay. Hold my palette knife way back so I don't have a whole lot of control over it, because sometimes that makes nice things happen. Other times it makes a mess, but it's part of the fun. Okay, now I need more of this color, I think, down here. Alright, that's starting to look like a candlestick. I don't know if this light is making that hard or easy to see. Let's see what I can do here. Alright, there, now I've blown out the right side of it, and you can see the left side a little bit. Okay, so I think I need to cut it in on the left side a little more. So I'm going to add some darks in there. Mix up some more dark color. Throw some of that in there. Try to cut it in. Okay. Not terribly unhappy with any of that. I think I'm adding like a little table, something for this to sit on. Sort of looks like it's floating to me. Getting a little blendy with it though, which I don't like to do. Okay. I think there's too much black over here, so I'm going to get some lighter red in there. I'm going to wipe my brush off. I'm just going to get some new red. I can go in here with that. Not too dark. Try that. Okay. Should have done that. That was a mistake. Adding that red there. It's all right. All right, I think I need to. This just looks like a blob to me, so I got to fix this right now. I mean, it's killing me. I'm gonna get a new brush, one that don't have red paint all over it. After I clean off my palette knife here. bust out the brushes. I don't need a big one. I guess I'm sticking with the flat theme we got going on. So surprise, another flat. And I want to mix white with just like a touch of yellow in it. I don't know what the plan is here. See, it's pink. I knew that was going to happen. Means I'm going to have to put this on like real thick. Now maybe what we do is we don't have, I was originally planning on having like a white glow. Maybe I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't have that white glow. I just make the top of the candle the lightest bit. And then I just put some red in there. We'll see how that works. I'm going to try and get this on pretty thick. Okay. I'm going to try putting some red in there. I just like throw straight cadmium red in there. Now maybe I'll throw a little bit of white in there. Lighten it up. I don't really want it to be pink though, so. This is definitely a little pink. There's some yellow in there to unpink it. Okay. Throw that in there. Maybe I'll put the wick in. Alright, I'm not hating that. I think the candle needs to be cut in a little bit. I think it's too like square on the top, I think. It needs to be like kind of rounded in the back. So I'm gonna try doing that with the palette knife. I might regret it. This palette knife is dangerous business. I'll try to get it all on the tip of the palette knife. Maybe what I'll do is cut red in and paint that the side of it in. Something like this. I don't know, that look more candle-like, maybe. At least it looks like a painting of a candle now. Before it was looking like something else. I don't know precisely what, but it wasn't looking real candle-esque. Now it's looking more like a candle. which was the intention. I think the candlestick needs more work. We're at the point now where I've covered this thing in paint, and I like it's got some texture to it, and I like that. So I think instead of trying to wipe paint off with a paper towel, I'm just going to go and put more heavy paint on top of that, which is always a good time. So I'm going to get my brush that I was mixing brights up with. I'm going to try to add some more detail on the candlestick. I'm going to mix up that same highlight color that I had in here. That was kind of gold. Throw just a tiny bit of brown in there. Okay. I think that'll work. I'm going to try just putting it on there with the brush. So I'm going to scoop some of that up. The palette knife is hard. Scary. Ooh, that's too light. Too bright. I need to darken that up a little bit. Because I want that drop there I got to be the brightest bit. I'm going to take that, try and scoop him right off of there. Get out of there. Get off of there. I'm just going to throw some brown in there to darken him up. Oh, maybe I can just use what's on the brush. Okay, that color might be good. Try and scoop some of that up. Same thing as before. All right, that's not too bad. Try and throw some darks in there with the palette knife to define that a little bit better. It's too much paint. Okay, now I'm going to cut it in with, I think this brush should do it. Too bright color in that brush. I'm going to try and, maybe I'll use my other brush. This brush has a little bit less of that dark red, or that light red on it. Throw some of this darker red in there. Cut that back in. Seems like I got the shape a little wrong. I'm going to try and correct it. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Feel okay about that. I think I need more orange though, so I'm gonna have to like palette type some orange in there. I also think that we need some more highlights. Don't want to go crazy. Just want a little bit more. And I want a little crazy. Definitely went a little crazy with that one. Okay. trying to carve this candlestick in there. I'm gonna have to fix some of that, but okay. Let's see. What next? I think I'm gonna lighten parts of this. Try and get my brush a little cleaner. Get some of the darks out of it. I need more red. So I shall get myself some more red. So I might have to mix up a lot of orange here, I think. And also, I think I'm just going to throw a lot of straight cadmium red just on this painting. It's a little dull, I think. A little saturation wouldn't help it. Wouldn't hurt it, I'm sorry. So this to me, it seems a little like blobby over here. So I'm going to try and cut some of that out of there. Okay. I think I ended up getting rid of that black line totally. Okay. Try to abstract that up a little bit. Okay. I think the same thing needs to happen on the other side of the candle, but with a dark color. Just need to carve him in. I'm gonna throw some lights in there because it's too dark. It's too dark in there now. So my general process for doing the abstract work is to honestly take the brush, and I use these long brushes, and I hold them way out at the end, and I just you know, let them fall around and just touch the canvas all kinds of funny ways. And whenever I make a real defined mark, I try to like slap it or something, just break it up. Unless you're looking for that, you know, like when I started to do this candle, I never touched this brush stroke. Like I can see the bristle marks on that brush stroke for the candle. And I wanted to leave that in. It's not super pronounced, so maybe I'll go in with some thick paint or something and try to do the same thing again at the end. But this is a pretty simple painting, so I kind of want the interesting bit of it to be the sort of brush strokes and that sort of thing. And I haven't gotten a good look at it from a distance yet, and sometimes that can help provide a little bit of context for what it's going to look like when it's getting closer to being done. And this one's not too far off. It's looking, a lot like what I wanted. I'm going to add the wick in at some point. I'm not really sure what the plan is for that. I'll grab another paper towel. Little tip with paper towels, I say this often. I'll say it again. These blue shop towels, they make a world of difference. Using these over a paper towel. It seems like with oil paint, they just suck the, I don't know if it's because they're designed to take oil out of things, but it really seems like they do a good job, and they don't have any lint. So if you dab the painting with them, you're not going to be leaving anything behind. Adding some cadmium red just around. I'm going to kind of abstract it, like I said. Just drag it around. Throw it about. Trying to think of what I want to do next. I think I want to get rid of this thing here. Okay. It's looking like a candle more and more. Needs some orange though. Definitely needs that orange. I think I'm going to try doing that with the palette knife, like I said before. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how that's going to look, but we're going to try it. I think I'm going to need more yellow. I'm going to start with yellow. I'm just going to mix what I've got here, see what color it is, because I got so much stuff in there. It might be pretty close to what I want already. Nah, it's still too... It's kind of a dirty yellow, which I don't love. I was hoping for a pretty clean yellow. Some red in there. See what we get. It's a little too orange, so I'm going to throw the rest of my yellow in there. Okay. I don't know. Palette knife actually seems like a bad idea for this one. Maybe I'll do palette knife on the bottom, just to see what it looks like. I also think I need to sort of fade it up a little bit, so the bottom's going to be more red, and then towards the top it'll get more yellow. Just kind of touching, letting the painting pull off what it wants. That's on there really thick. It's not quite as orange as I wanted it to be. I think I might try again. I don't know, we'll find out. I'm thinking maybe if I add some more yellow into the mix at the top, that'll improve things. I'm gonna bust some more yellow out. Alright, I'll throw some of that in here. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna stop touching that for now and let that stew for a bit. It's time to play more with the candlestick. Get a little ridge of paint here and get that to cut out side of this. I'm gonna try and thin that out. Didn't put that on very carefully, but we'll see what it looks like once I cut it in. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that, but I ain't touching it. Okay, I need to add some more black down in there. I need more black in general. Okay, I'm gonna kind of chisel my brush here, try to add a little more definition in here. Trying to use the corner of the brush to be a little more accurate. All right. I don't know if that improved it or made it worse, but it's different now. Adding some more of that highlight color in there. See what I think about it. I think I'm going to throw some more dark in there. Try and get some better contrast in there. Okay, I think I need to do something to make it. Oh, interesting. Not sure what I want to do now. Maybe add some. Add a little bit of brown in the candle, maybe. In the bottom. Just mixing red and brown. I'm gonna throw some yellow in there too. and put some of that in there. That did some interesting things that I like, so I'm gonna stop touching that. I think I wanna work on the lip of the candle a little bit. The lip of the candlestick. Scrape some of that off. Try to get some black in there. I have to cut that in again. I feel like I've cut in that corner of that candlestick like 5 times now. Keep touching it. It's the way it goes. I'm gonna throw some highlights on this part. Kind of subtle. Not as subtle as I wanted, but okay. Now I need some black. I'm gonna put that right in here. Like I'm gonna put my hand in the paint here. Trying not to do that. Touching it too much. I'm gonna pull some of that off. Just a lot of paint. I feel like I want to put some like midtones in there. All right. Let me think now. I feel like I need some more contrast. And I think I'm going to do that with some midtones in the candlestick. So I'm going to get some brown in here. More brown. Some red. There's way too much red. I'm killing brown in this painting. Okay. I'm just going to touch this in here. Not much. We're just going to try it. See what it looks like. I want less paint. And I'm going to just try and like alter the color. Okay, I'm gonna try and cut that in and see what that looks like. All right, we got something now. Definitely got something. Definitely got something now. Throw a little bit maybe of some reflected light on this candle. I don't know how I feel about that. Thinking maybe I darken that a little bit. Like I just wrecked the candlestick. Try to put some darks back in there. I didn't put that in the right spot. I feel like, let me step back here. Let me add the wick actually, and I'll step back. Because they say you gotta view your painting, especially if it's an impressionistic painting. You gotta take it's 6 feet, and I don't have 6 feet of room. I'm gonna get as many feet as I can. So to add the wick, I think I'm just gonna like touch it with my palette knife with some black on it. Try to get some of that on the tip. And I'm just gonna throw that like, I don't know, where would the wick be, like, I don't know, there. Does that look like a wick? And maybe I'll throw such like yellow in there. No, it's not accepting the yellow, so it doesn't get any. Like I butchered the wick. Try and repair it. All right. That's wick-esque, I would say. Now let me take a step back, like I said I was going to do. Take a look at it here. The other thing I'm going to do is see if I can get my other light plugged in. First, I'm going to just stand up and take a look. I don't know, I feel like I need some brighter areas in there. All right, let me see if I can get my other light working. Things might get dark for just a moment. Leave him having to fight with these lights again. All right, there we go. That's a light. Can actually see the painting better now. Okay. Question is now, what am I doing with it? I don't know. Tell you one thing that's gonna bother me. Is there some like white spots in there that I don't like? So they're leaving. Okay, I'm gonna add some interesting bits in the dark spots to break them up a little bit. Just vary up the colors a little bit. The same kind of thing, but with some darker colors. Okay. Try and throw some kind of darker areas in here too. I'm gonna fix some of that up. Back to some plain red. Cadmium red. Just trying to add some interesting spots there in the background. You gotta be kind of careful doing this sort of stuff though, because it'll start to look really contrived really fast. It's a big word. Hope I used it right. Okay. I want to add some more red bits down here. Trying to get some nice thick paint on this brush. I'm just gonna kind of tap it around. Okay. Trying to get this candle, get rid of that like milky white around it. Milky red, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Got something now. Stand up again, take another look at it. See what I think. My brain is telling me it needs more yellow in the candle. Wants more like yellow and white in the candle. So I'm going to clean a brush really well. Try that. I'm going to put it on real thick after I test it. Get some of the color out of that, and I'm going to wash it with some water. Right? Is there still paint in that brush? Can't tell. Kind of looks like it. Oh no, that's just. I think there's some acrylic paint dried in my brush. It's a disaster. It's the dilemma you get when you mix your brushes around. Sometimes I use natural bristles for my acrylic paintings because I feel like natural bristles make the most interesting brush marks. You can really see the lines where the hairs hit the canvas. And with synthetic, sometimes I feel like you just don't really get that as much. But I seem to have murdered this brush, so it's a shame. Oh well. So I'm going to start with just like straight cad yellow for this. And okay, I'm actually going to get some straight out of the tube because that cad yellow has brown in it. Well, maybe I'll try it. I'll fight it. I'll play its game. This is mostly cad yellow and white, but there's some other things in there, which I think is okay. All right, I'm just gonna like touch this in kind of an inconspicuous spot. See what color I got. All right, I'm just gonna try putting that on real thick. think I need more at the top. And I made a disaster. It's okay. Can be fixed. Alright, I really don't want to get too blendy with that. But I'm feeling better about it now. Set that brush over here. I'm going to go back in with my red and really try to cut this in now. Oh, this is a rough brush stroke there. Okay. Things are going right now. I think this is for the most part working out. Let's see, what else do I want to do? I want to add some more darks. I'm going to throw one right here. Got a little too many of the darks over there, I think. Okay, we're getting into overworking now, I think, so I reckon it's about time I stopped. Also got paint all over my hands. Okay. I don't know how I feel about this one yet. Sometimes I gotta sleep on them and see if I like them or not. Got another paper towel so that I can wipe my hands off after I do this forbidden maneuver. This is taped to my desk, so try not to throw it at my face. That's where it was aimed. All right, here's what we got. It's very basic. But it was kind of a good test because there were some things I wanted to try with this one. I wanted to do a nice simple painting. And I wanted to try getting some pretty heavy brush strokes in there. You can see I've definitely accomplished that. You can see the grain on the candle. You can see a lot of the texture there in the background. As far as do I think it looks good from afar? I don't know. I'm not sure I love the composition. Kind of feels like the candle's floating. I wish I had thought of throwing like a table in there or something else in there too. And I feel like maybe I lost something. I was originally planning on having some like light areas in there. I think I lost something not having that. Overall, it's not a bad painting. I've painted far worse, I think. It looks like a candle. It's more than I can say for some of my paintings. Look at it one more time. Make sure there's nothing I want to do to it. Let me try one thing. I'm going to use some tube black on it, see what that does. Gosh, my hands are covered in paint. Just getting paint all over my things. So I've got some ivory black. I'm going to try and see what that looks like if I throw it in there. It's occurring to me that I've definitely, so those are not the darkest blacks I could mix. I sort of wanted them on the reddish side. So that's sort of how they are. It's hard to tell that on the camera because I'm looking at the camera now. And you really can't see that, but seeing it in person, the darks are sort of a maroon, like brown color. They're not really black. I want to see what adding some just like straight to black does in there. Might do nothing. I'm just kind of interested to see. I don't know, it's not a huge difference. It's going to kind of touch some of it around, see what it does. Maybe I'll just add a little bit of extra contrast. And I get it just on the edge of the bristles. So I can kind of touch it in there. It's really not doing much. What I'm doing really is making this painting take days more to dry. Adding all this thick paint on top of this. think I'm just doing damage now, so time to stop. Let's get one more closer look. See if that black did much. I don't really think it did too much. I think I just ruined some of the freshness of it, but so we got. Not too bad. It'd take months to dry though. Hopefully not too long. Because it is water mixable oils, so they tend to dry a little bit faster than regular oils, I noticed. But I think we're going to call it there. Take my glove off so I don't get paint all over my mouse here.